Hi everyone, we're doing the numerology and the astrology for January 12th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 9. And the 9 is the number of completion, intuition, the feminine. It's the strongest feminine number. It's about the gut feeling, the gut instinct, and listening to that gut instinct. And I always think it's important to have great intuition, but to balance that out with the cognitive feelings in the mind also. So when the mind is a slave to the soul rather than the soul being a slave to the mind can give tremendous perspective and clarity to very subtle intuitive hits. But you need to have those in balance, because if one is used to being in control, it's just going to disregard your gut instinct, and that's when usually you get in trouble and things happen. It's like I learned a long time ago to always listen. I'll say it like that, to always listen to my intuition, whether it seems right or wrong, but just to always take it into account and to give it its rightful position and place. And this is one of those moments where I think everybody needs to really pay attention. Many years ago, the guide said to me that after 2013, that it was going to be more and more and more essential for people to have contact with their intuitive self, or to find that stillness within. And I find it sort of an interesting irony that we had this COVID pandemic, which forced everybody to stay home, forced everybody to suddenly deal with this emotion that they had on the inside that was probably disguising intuitive hits. And so suddenly they had to deal with the emotions that were coming up because they had no distractions, which was perfect as far as I was concerned. And then from there kind of go, wow, I really need to start a yoga routine, or I really need to, do some meditating, or I really need to do some exercising, and start to find where your center sits, where your assemblage point is within your own body, and how to get that calmer and more integrated. I know for myself that I'm a lot more calm and integrated than I was before because of the pandemic. And so I think I know everybody sees it sort of as a curse, but I think more and more people are seeing it as this incredible blessing, because it's really gotten us back to what's important, and it's really gotten us to kind of pay attention and listen, and it's really gotten us to deal with our own feelings and our own intuitive hits, and figure out how to separate those and know which ones are just our primal reactive emotions and which ones are actually intuitive hits. So, needless to say, we are in uncharted territory with the numerology, and many things are coming full circle. The number 9, that's the number 9, is full circle. So potentially some very scary things, but what goes around always comes around eventually, and it is never pretty when things come around, especially when there's big shit storms and consequences to shit storms. So I hear all the time people say, this person did this bad thing to me, and I want them to feel horrible right now. And I'm like, I totally know that we don't have any we're not in charge of any of that. The universe is in charge of that. And trust me, the universe will always teach some big lessons, but it teaches them when it's ready, not when we're ready. So I always say, just go on with your life and recognize that, what's yours is your karma. You have to deal with it. What's theirs is their karma. They have to deal with it. You don't get to say, you don't have a say in any of that. So what I always try and do is allow the karma to flow. And I try to be open to the karma as it's coming in. And so there are some tough choices in front of us. More than just the obvious. Each small step that has happened over the years has compiled to create this moment. And it's an unprecedented moment. No matter what anybody tries to do, you cannot downplay this moment. This is one for the history books, and professors will speak about it for 1,000 years. Really, seriously. I pray for calmness and hope to be evolving into positive actions. But we will have to wait and see. The astrology today. The new moon is in Capricorn. It is an interesting new moon because it is aligned with the Sirius and karmic sign of Capricorn. So Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury have all moved into progressive Aquarius. And this indicates that it's time to make a total commitment to a transcendental goal. The Capricorn moon will bring those goals down to earth and show them how to work in a real life. While at the same time, we are being asked to reach into our more altruistic and higher energies, all the Aquarius energy, while aggressive and battle-savvy Mars is moving towards exact alignment with revolutionary Uranus in the coming days, right at Inauguration Day. I'm afraid that we need to expect that while this aspect can, in the most positive sense, bring fresh new ideas, it can also bring disruptive revolutionaries trying to bring down the system. I pray for calmer minds and strong resolve in those needing to handle it. Mercury is square to Uranus in the morning, making an impatient and scattered type of mental energy. Disorganization and abruptness will tend to be the go-to place, and it will leave things in a bit of chaos if not handled properly. Deal with what matters most in the world. While you may feel as if you cannot seem to get everything done, it will be okay. If you feel you need to jump ahead of situations, that is okay also. Expect the old reality to react and get upset as the wheel of life turns once again. Insight is possible in flashes of awareness. Pay attention to them when they arise. Venus forms a square to Chiron in the afternoon. Some will feel exhausted and drained. It's going to be difficult to regroup and get some energy back right now. There is a scary type of vulnerability that is just below the surface. We can feel it bubbling to the surface. We see the signs flashing all around us. It is threatening the past monoliths of stability in our world. Overall, things feel a bit wired, weird, and disjointed in anticipation of what is to come. My quote for today: how can we see past passions and distortions? How can we bring truth back into proportion? We can find balance when goodness is the path. We can find harmony when truth overtakes wrath. Okay, my blog for today. I think it's time for silliness. Like serious silliness. Really, I mean, like, we have got to find some humor. We have got to find some laughter. We have got to break ourselves out of this intensity. And even if it's just for a moment and a pause. So, let's just like go, whatever, right? You know, I mean, it's like there are crazy people in the world. There are always going to be crazy people in the world. You cannot change certain things. You know, I'm not in a position of power. You're not, most of you are not in a position of power. We can only make a difference in our little bubble. So make a difference in your small little bubble. And the best thing you could do is break it up and, you know, bring some happiness to others and bring some awareness in different ways and try and do something that brings a smile to multiple faces, right? So, you know, we're still dealing with, you know, stores and places having a hard time, and I know people, their money is tight, but sometimes you just need to do something silly and small. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big deal. You can go take somebody bubble gum so that in their stress they can chew bubble gum and blow bubbles, you know. And it's like, do anything, you know, just do absolutely anything. You know, sometimes the best gift in the world is the silliest little gift that just brings a smile to somebody's face. The world is so constricted, you know, so much is bubbling and hot, and I know I need a break from the constant earthquakes and tremors of chaos that threaten to break through the old crust of stability and sanity. I know what is coming, and I know that we have just begun the Pluto return in the U.S. chart, and it will not be over for at least 2 years. That is why each of us need to pace ourselves. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I know we are entering into an unprecedented time in history. I know that what is about to transpire is going to be an example in history books of massive failure or the story of redemption through an unprecedented turn that will change previous tragic histories into potential heroic destinies. Really. Here's the trick in my book. Pluto returns usually cause, major destructions of civilizations. Most civilizations fall at this point. I think we can not. I think we can break out. I think we can change. I think we can grow. I think that we can do this. I really believe that we can do this. But we have to do it together. So, I believe in us. I believe in the United States of America. I believe in the unity this country has shown in the past and the unity that it can be again in the future. But I cannot believe in it all alone. It will not work. I need to believe in that possibility with the majority of others who believe in the ideal that is America, not this pettiness that seems to rule small minds and closed hearts. We are bigger than this. We are better than this. We will see if that is, again, possible. I know it can be done. I know we've done it before, not in a Pluto return, but let's test my theory. Let's show the world that a Pluto return can be a phoenix rising out of the ashes. I pray that we can set aside differences and come back to a place where we can laugh and be free again. In the meantime, I'm going to create laughter in my life, create connection and joy, and create a world that I want to live in. I refuse to care or listen to those that hate, smear, deceive, and believe in distortion, regardless of what their eyes and ears are telling them. And I don't care if I love them or not. I refuse to listen. That's it. And I know that others want to join such a cause. All those that do not want to find fault, and those whose hearts lead the way in choices that impact others, are welcome. Thanks, everybody.